The first time we would like to respect the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and would like to respect all venerable here, and say hello all the people. Spend your time to watching my video. And our topic here today to explain about or discuss about, talk about how can Buddhism help our society in the present day. So you know that in the present day, Buddhism play an important role, right? To help our society and to help our countries, to help our people and to help our country and other countries in around the world as well. So the first time I give opportunity to Venerable Lee to explain first about uh, Buddhism that play an important role in that Buddhism or how can Buddhism help our society? Venerable.
So, thank you, Venerable. Very good question. So, the question is talk about how can Buddhism help our society. Before I go through to the question, I would like to introduce some about what is Buddhism. Buddhism refers to the lesson that Buddha have taught about about the lies, about how to live, about the rules of the nature like that. This is we call Buddhism. So how can Buddhism help our society? I will introduce some point about the benefit. As we know that there are a lot of benefit that Buddhism has contributed to our society. But I would like to raise only some point that I think we can easily to see in our society that Buddhism can help. The first talk about Buddhism preserve our culture. This point very common thing that we all know and we all understand. Culture we can say talk about the Khmer traditional game, Khmer traditional dancer, or including literature also. So we talk about Buddhism, how do pagoda. So in pagoda, the monk study hard about the literature. And also in the Khmer New Year's or the Shumban days, people come to pagodas and to celebrate some ceremony that can show about our protection of the culture. And also pagoda give the place to maintain it. It means that Buddhism also provide the chance to keep our culture. This is one thing. And another we talk about the past, in the past at the time that we are in under the control of the French, or we call French colony. At the time they try to force us to use their own language. It means that we need to change our literature. But at the time, Buddhism play an important role to take care our literature. This is the thing that Buddhism can help our society. And another thing, talk about Buddhism build a peace for our country. We can know that our country has been suffering many years ago and how the conflict, how the violence. But when Buddhism come, Buddhism explain about what is the bad thing, what is the impact of bad thing. Like example, when you make the violence to other people, Buddhism explain that when you do bad thing, the result will come, and the thing that you do will spread to many people, and they were suffering from our action. This is the reason that Buddhism teaches us. So when people understand about what is the impact of bad thing, what is the benefit of doing good thing, people will try to do good thing more and more. Yeah, imagine when people do good thing more and more, how can our society come to like the society that have no peace? Maybe no, right? We will live in peaceful. So this is the thing coming from Buddhism also. And another thing, talk about Buddhism can give the place, or we can say like Buddhism provide the place to the poor to continue the study, which means that in the present day many people they have the chance to study, but some of the people that coming from countryside all of them like very poor. They have no money to support the study. They have no place to live to continue their study, right? But every pagoda like the place or the good place for continue. Especially we can say like the ministry boys, they come to pagoda, they can stay, they can continue the study, and also the monk themselves. Some of the monk they come from countryside, they continue the study by staying in pagoda, and also in pagoda can give the place to teach. I mean like the pagoda develop the people become like the people that full of education, so which mean that Buddhism play an important role to help our society, not only in the lesson that we study from Buddhism, but also like the place, also like the Buddhism take care our culture also. So in sum up, I would like to say that Buddhism very important, can help too much to our society, like build peace, maintain our culture, and also provide a place for the poor to continue the study. So thank you again, Venerable. Very good question.
Thank you so much, Venerable Lee, for your explanation about Buddhism play an important role in our society. You mentioned 3 points. You can say benefit. You can say good 3 points. Point number one, talk about protect and preserve our culture in Cambodia. In culture, have everything, right? Example, Khmer literature and some art, especially, a ceremony of festival, Khmer New Year, Chumban Day, and other ceremony in Buddhism, example, Miek Kabochia, Visak Kabochia, Asalaha Kabochia, you know, very important. Buddhism play an important role to preserve our culture, to protect our culture for a long time, for long years. Yes, thank you so much. And number two, you mentioned about build the peace for Cambodia. Buddhism play an important role. If don't have Buddhism, very hard to find the peace for our people in Cambodia, because Buddhism educate our people, you can say, to control their mind, find the peace in mind, and find the peace in mind, and find the peace in our society as well. Example, you mentioned a lot, some part of Buddha teaching, example, 5 precept, 8 precept, 10 precept, and other point, example, Buddha teaches about generosity, morality, and concentration. Very important for people in daily life, find the peace together in Cambodia. And the last point you mentioned about give the place for venerable monks and for temple boys, temple boys, and sometimes for uh, the old person as well. Very important in the present day. You can say Buddhism, you can say, can help a lot of poor people in our society in the present day. Thank you so much, Venerable, for your explanation about this. And other point, I give opportunity to Venerable Seto to explain the same topic, but I think that you have different idea from Venerable Lee, right? Yeah, Venerable. Can you explain something that you want?
Yes, thank you so much, Venerable. Give me a chance. And our and your question asked me about how can Buddhism help our society. And today I have 3 points to reply this question. The first question, or the first answer, and the first point, help the society reduce the violence. And second point, help the society have a good environment. And the last point, help the society have a lot of good human resource. And the first point, can help the society reduce violence, as we know that our society have a lot of violence by the people they commit the good or the bad thing, like sometimes he drink alcohol. Nowadays our country reach in this activity. So before we can reduce it, we should practice Buddhism, as Buddhism can give you a good way to find the good peace for your family and for your country. And one more thing, that we should practice Buddhism, take and observe the 5 precepts. because nowadays lay people sometimes they don't know about the five precepts. When we want to develop or build or reduce your violence in your family or your country, you should take Buddhism to practice or take five precepts to practice. This is the benefit of Buddhism to help you to reduce the violence in society. And second point, have the society have a good environment. Environment is very important for your life. That when we have when we live with the bad uh, environment, you don't have a good health, because our health is our life. Because when you can take care or reduce the bad thing, can take the environment a good environment in your life, you can live a long life also. Nowadays Buddhism uh, educate the people to know about environment have a good and benefit to offer to you. And environment is very important, and our country right now, I saw the situation is better than before, because the people they know about the way that can the you can say the bad thing that can affect to all of them. And Buddhism also play important role to contribute with all this activity in society to develop our society to reduce the bad environment, and to you can say to get in a good environment in our society also. This is the second point. And the last point, have the society have a lot of good human resource. As we know that Buddhism can build the human resource by education, especially the monk. Nowadays have a lot of the monk that have high education. I mentioned one vulnerable or three or two vulnerable, like vulnerable Sansuchia, vulnerable Yon Yet, vulnerable Hạ Sinh Hai. Nowadays, three the monk that they can share or educate to the people. Sometimes they teach about the Khmer literature, and sometimes take the people to know about the Buddhism, can practice Buddhism to take the good peace in your life. And especially the Buddhism can help all of you to find the good way in your life also. Sometimes they have a lot of the you can say bad mindset, and you can take Buddhism to practice. Have you can know the way that can make your life to price in your future plan. And in sum up, I think about 3 points that I mentioned is very important to all of you that can take it to know and to practice for in your life. Yes, that's all for me about my question or my answer to this question. Yes, Honorable.
Yes, thank you so much. Wow, great idea, Venerable. Thank you so much, Venerable Seto, uh, for your explanation about Buddhism play an important role in our society. You mentioned 3 points, right? Yeah, 3 points. Point number one, you mentioned about reduce violence. Yeah, absolutely. In our society, Buddhism play an important role to reduce, give up violence in our society. Some Paul Buddha teaches about five precepts. Don't drink alcohol. This is the way that can reduce our, you can say, environment in our society. And Buddha teaches about meditation. Mean that control your mind. And Buddha teaches about generosity, morality. Mean that the part of can reduce environment as well. And point number two, you talk about environment. Mean that for Buddhism, talk about environment. Buddhism focus on environment because Buddha was born in the forest. Buddha enlightenment in the forest, and the Buddha passed away or paranipana in the environment. So environment very important for Buddhism and for the people in around the world as well. So Buddha don't allow lay people, sorry, don't allow Buddhist monk to cut down the tree. This is the good way. And Buddha, to explain something, Buddha spent a long year, you can say many years in the forest, with wild animal, key or elephant, and with some wild animal and a lot. So environment play an important role for our people in the present day. You can say oxygen, right, and other point. And the last point very important as well. Talk about develop our human resources. Develop our, you can say, develop education system. Yeah, Buddhism in the present day for our country play an important role this, because some part of Buddha, sorry, some part of education, law and education system in Cambodia, that come from Buddhism. Our culture as well. Example, respect and some culture, good culture in Cambodia come from Buddhism. And develop here, especially Buddhist monk, right? Yeah, Buddhist monk and pagoda and Buddhism play an important role to support, to build infrastructure, example school, a university, a pagoda, and and huts and home, right? The same home for Buddhist monk to study and for the lay people or poor people to study. So Buddhism play an important role about this. Thank you so much, Venerable Lee and Venerable Seto, for your explain some part of the teaching. If at the time, if all of you have opportunity, have free time, I will and advise you to explain some part of the teaching, because without teaching a lot, right? So I want invite you to explain some part of the teaching to give benefit for our people in social media. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that's all my explain about Buddha teaching. Yeah.